My old college roommate, Dylan, lives just outside of Denver. Like most Colorado natives, he loves to camp. The crazy kind of camper who does it all year, even in December. Whenever he goes to the mountains alone, I have him check in with me, just in case. I'm worried about him, so I'll get right to it. His texts are starting to scare me. The following is our latest text conversation. 2:30 p.m. Yo, just parked my car, heading to the trail now. You're crazy, man. How cold is it? Not bad, actually. 30s. You gotta come out here soon. It's beautiful. Huh. We'll see in spring when it warms up. Have fun, man. Watch out for staircases in the forest. Nice, dude. Real funny. 7:44 a.m. Dude, are you up? Yes, sir. You okay? This is so weird. I woke up this morning, and there's someone else out here. On the mountain? Looks like you're not the only winter camper. LOL. No, not a camper. I can see them on the horizon, but they haven't moved. Like, at all. What? I don't know. It definitely looks like a person, but they haven't moved. They're probably 300 yards away, but standing completely still. That's super creepy, dude. Keep me updated. 9:19 a.m. They still haven't moved. I made breakfast over the fire and acted like I didn't notice anything. I'm gonna go check it out. Alright, let me know. Maybe it's a stump or something. 9:33 a.m. Dude, it's a scarecrow. What? Like a farmer scarecrow? Yeah, man. What other kind of scarecrow do you know of? His clothes are weird, though. How so? The clothes are modern. It's wearing a nice jacket and jeans and stuff. Face is kind of scary, like a burlap sack with black eyes and a huge smile stitched on. Why is this thing out here? I'm tempted to steal its North Face jacket though, LOL. I posted a pic of it on my Snap story if you want to see what it looks like. I don't know, dude. Leave it alone. Maybe it's some sort of conservation study or something? Like, to see if bears will attack it? You might be on camera. And I know you packed a little something extra in your pack. Haha, good point. Speaking of which, time for a smoke break, LOL. Have fun, man. Haha. 3:33 a.m. Someone is outside my tent. Are you sure? Dude, please, this is serious. I can see their shadow. Call the police, Dylan. No, I don't want to make any noise. They probably think I'm asleep. I have my knife. I'm texting inside my sleeping bag so they can't hear the phone. I thought I heard a noise and I woke up. I guess I didn't zip up my tent all the way. I assumed it was the wind, but then I saw the silhouette. What the... Man, you should call the police. Should I call them for you? Where are you? Latitude and longitude now. Dylan! Dude, please respond and drop a pin so I know where you are. 6:56 a.m. I'm alright. Thanks for finally responding. I about had a heart attack. I barely slept. I was going to call the police or the ranger station, but I didn't know where you're at. There's something weird though. The scarecrow? It's right outside my tent. Someone put it there last night while I was asleep. That's the shadow I saw. I don't like this at all. Go home, man. Seriously, that's messed up, even if it is a joke. I'm about 4 miles from my car. I'll text you when I get back to it. Also, I forgot to mention something. What? My hat? It was on top of the scarecrow this morning. Someone must have gotten into my tent last night while I was asleep and put my hat on its head. Text me ASAP! That was earlier. Hopefully he gets back okay. Oh, 3 dots. It looks like he's responding to me. 9:13 a.m. Oh, crap, man. Someone slashed my tires, and there's another scarecrow by my car. I've been working with the Denver Park Rangers and police. They're not telling me anything. They said that they had the situation under control. I'm not convinced. Here's my last conversation with Dylan. Please, tell me you're calling the police. Hang on. I'm going to see how bad a shape my car is in. And yes, I'm calling them. Alright, let me know ASAP. Dylan, what's going on? I'll text you later. It's not safe. Dylan, please, let me know what's going on. Alright, I have a second to catch you up. I can call you, but I have to keep my voice low. This is so messed up, dude. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be here. Also, my iPhone is dying, and I'm going to have to switch over to my flip phone that I use for work. Dude, what do you mean it's not safe? So, I went to try and start my car to get a quick charge on my phone and see how bad the tires were. The engine wouldn't even turn over. The Scarecrow was standing right in front of my car, like a foot away. It smelled so bad, dude, like rotting meat. I called the police and told them about the car and that I was stuck. They transferred me to the ranger station to explain where I was for assistance. That's when it got weird. What do you mean? The ranger, he seems pretty lax at first, like, where are you? Stay calm, we'll send help, blah blah blah. He's all monotone, like he's used to it. But then I mentioned the Scarecrow, and the ranger was different. Different? Like, how? He became really serious and panicked. Here's how it went.
Did you say a Scarecrow? Yes, sir. I need you to be very clear with me and honest, son. What exactly did it look like?
I described the Scarecrow that was back at the camp, the one wearing my hat.
And you said there's another one by your car now? Yeah, it smells terrible. What's this one wearing? Nothing, just a burlap cloth. This one's face is frowning. Wait, it looks like there's something pinned on its chest. It has a piece of paper pinned to it. Anything else? Yeah, there's something written on the paper. Son, I need you to listen to me very clearly. Okay? I have some bad news. I'm in my truck now. I was headed your way. The bridge leading to the trail is partially collapsed and impassable right now. We're not sure how it happened, but we have an emergency crew working on it now. I need you to start moving this instant. Right now, you're on the north side of the mountain, and I need you to go to the south face. That's where we'll meet. Do you have a compass and a map? Yes, sir. Good. Alright, here's the exact point we'll meet. He explained to me where to go. That's the exact point where I'll meet you. Do not stay where you are. Get away from your car. Most importantly, do not hang around any of those scarecrows. Do you understand me? If you see any more, I want you to run as fast as you can. You run and get clear from it, okay? I will. Trust me. I need you to keep moving, okay? What's going on? Am I in danger? What does the Scarecrow have to do with anything? Listen, just keep moving while the sun is up. Make as little noise as possible. And are you wearing bright clothing? No, I have a dark brown coat on and gray pants. Good. Try and stay out of plain sight as much as possible. Move quickly and call me if you see or hear anything unnatural. Unnatural? You'll know what I mean. But only make phone calls when it's absolutely necessary, okay? When night falls, stay warm and hidden. No fires. If you hear anything in the night, do not run. Stay as still and quiet as possible, okay? Wait, will you tell me what's going on? What should I be looking for? Get moving south now, okay? Wait,
And that's when he hung up. Where are you now? I'm moving south. There's creepy stuff going on. What do you mean? I walked by the spot where my campsite was last night. The Scarecrow, the one that was wearing my hat, it's not there anymore. It's just gone? Yes, nothing at all. Dude, I'm so sorry you're having to go through this. My eyes are watering just reading your text. I hate this, man. I just want to go home. You gotta do what the ranger said, okay? And we'll get you out of there. Do you have your data on your phone? No, just talk and text. Great, plenty of battery? Yes, thank God. I'm exhausted, and I'm scared. Still making my way to the other trail on the south side to meet the ranger. Keep moving, okay? I see a Scarecrow. The one from my camp. It's up in a tree. It's way up there. How did it get up so high? What the? Send me a pic, man, okay? I can't get a good shot. It's so up high, my camera sucks. It's just hanging up there. It looks like it's staring at me. I'm so freaked out and tired, man. Something is dripping off of it. Dylan, get away from it, okay? The sun's about to set. I'm going to find a place to sleep. Dylan, you never told me what was on the note. The one that was pinned to the Scarecrow by the car? Oh yeah, you're right. It said, "Are you scared yet?" What? Who would write that? Who's doing this? Dylan? Dylan? Are you okay? Dylan, answer me! Dylan, text me back when you can. I don't want to waste your battery, okay? It's getting closer. What? What is? It's right next to me. I need help. This thing, oh my gosh. Is it even human? It can't be. It stopped. I'm hiding behind a tree. I don't know if it knows where I am. The smell, man. It smells so bad. I'm gonna make a run for it. It's close. It's so close. Dude, Dylan, please, tell me you're okay. What is it? Dylan? Dylan! I'm gonna call the police. Dude, text me. What happened? I called the police. They're looking for you on the south face, where the ranger said you'd meet. Please tell me that you made it. Dylan? Hello? Dylan, are you okay? What happened? Hello? Dylan? Hello? Hello?
Are you scared yet?
What the? Dylan, is that you? Are you okay? Dylan? That's the last I've heard from him. I'm working with the authorities now, and they say they're trying to track Dylan's phones. I just heard back from the police. All they found was another Scarecrow. It was sitting in the driver's seat of Dylan's car. He was wearing a dark brown coat and gray pants. The Scarecrow was filled with meat. I'm not sure what kind. The police are having me fly out to Denver now. As soon as I landed in Denver, I powered up my cell. I had a series of texts from Dylan's phone. I'm not sure what time they were sent. 7:45 a.m. Come find me. Who is this? Where's Dylan? I'm with the police. We'll find you. There was no response. After I got my luggage, I rented a small truck and drove to the ranger station. The police officer I spoke with told me they were letting the ranger handle the investigation for now. As soon as I arrived, I was escorted to a back room. I assumed it was the same ranger that had talked to Dylan. He was a lanky, disheveled man with black hair and pale white skin. He reeked of smoke and looked like he hadn't slept in years. I sat down across from him. He placed his hat on the table, lit a cigarette, and spoke.
We called you down here because, at first, we needed your phone as a part of the investigation, but I'm afraid that's no longer necessary.
His raspy voice was tattered and broken. His clothes shared the same features. What happened?
I'm sorry, but I can't discuss any details at the moment. You need to leave this to the professionals, okay? We will do everything we can to help your friend and find him.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, but we can't have civilians interfering. We need you to stay safe and out of the way.
I got text messages from his phone right after I landed. Something happened to him.
I know this is hard. We're searching all possibilities, but we do not believe there is any foul play. Teenagers in the area have been known to play pranks on lone campers. You are more than welcome to help us with reports. I know how hard it is to lose a friend.
Oh, and these teenagers slash tires, steal phones, and send violent threats too? Are you kidding me? You even told Dylan that he was in danger.
I promise you, we're working night and day. I think the best thing that you can do is stay off the trails and be there for his family, and...
I couldn't even let him finish his sentence. I was too upset. I stormed out. He didn't even attempt to stop me. I know that was all BS. What was he trying to keep from me? I had text evidence that Dylan was being followed by someone or something. I'm going to figure this out. I went to the only place I was familiar with in the area, Dylan's apartment. I still remembered his door code from the last time that I had visited. The apartment was eerily quiet. I was overcome with the feelings of fear and sadness. As soon as I saw a picture of Dylan in the kitchen, I couldn't help it. I had to cry. After a few moments, I collected myself, opened the fridge, and pulled out a beer. I needed to sit back and think. As I got up to throw away the empty beer, I saw something. It was Dylan's map, his map of Colorado of all the places that he'd camped. I had forgotten about it. Dylan used this large topographical map to keep track of all the places he'd trekked. The map was riddled with black thumbtacks and a few white ones. Dylan's method was simple: black thumbtacks for areas he'd already explored, white for his upcoming adventures. I wrote the coordinates of the white markers. I searched through Dylan's apartment and collected all his remaining camping gear. I grabbed a wooden baseball bat from his closet as well. I knew where to go. I loaded up the truck, tossing supplies in the truck bed, and headed to the mountain. It was a long drive. Eventually I passed an old bridge on the way. I didn't notice any sign of recent construction. 10 minutes later, I pulled up next to Dylan's car. It was eerie to see the yellow police tape wrapping around the body of the car. It made the situation all too real. As soon as I parked the pickup, I dropped a pin on my phone. After what seemed like an eternity of hiking, I reached the point on the map where Dylan had marked, and I got to work setting up camp. I was running out of daylight. I constructed my tent and placed a sleeping bag inside of it. As soon as night fell, I lit a large fire and quickly snuck away from the camp. I took cover in trees about 100 yards away. I posted up beneath a large tree, cracked open an energy drink, and kept my eyes glued on the tent. 11:13 p.m. Nothing. I thought I heard some footsteps rustling in the leaves, but I chalked it up to wildlife. 12:02 a.m. It was quieter. Still nothing. 1:10 a.m. Oh! I yelled as I jumped. I almost had a heart attack. 3 deer walked by me. I started to nod off and they woke me up. 2:23 a.m. I was exhausted, cold, and trying to stay awake. I drank my last bit of caffeine. 3:11 a.m. I saw something. Walking towards the tent, it was a man. With a flashlight, he stared in, looking around my tent. What the? 3:13 a.m. He noticed no one was in the tent, started shining the flashlight around the woods. He didn't see me. 3:19 a.m. He started leaving and heading south. I followed him. I took off my boots so I could walk quietly. I threw a couple more pairs of wool socks on and kept my distance. 4:01 a.m. I continued to follow, taking countless turns in the dark. He seemed to be wondering, shining the flashlight in front of him as he walked. 4:17 a.m. He finally stopped near a pile of leaves. He tripped on something and started brushing the leaves away. And I saw his face. It was the park ranger. There were doors under the pile, huge metal cellar doors. A chain was fastened around the handle, and the doors led straight into the ground. He stopped to smoke a cigarette, pulled a notepad from his coat pocket, and scribbled something down. After he finished writing, he started looking through a flip phone. There's no way. I sent a text. 4:19 a.m. Where's Dylan? 4:20 a.m. This guy had Dylan's phone. It chimed right after I sent the text. He read it and he whispered to himself, I told you to leave this to the professionals, and put the phone back in his pocket. I wanted to kill him. I was blinded by rage. He started undoing the chains and making a lot of noise. I couldn't let him disappear from my sight. I was running out of time. 4:28 a.m. I did it. I hit that guy in the skull with a bat. Right before he opened the doors, I swung it as hard as I could. He fell to the ground and didn't move. The chain rested next to his bleeding temple. He never heard me coming. I'll never forget the sound the bat made when it connected, the dull thud and the crack of the solid wood smashing into bone. Sweat and blood misted the air as he fell. I opened the cellar doors. I wished I hadn't. It was the smell, putrid stench of rotting flesh that hit me first. As soon as I saw the first limb sticking out of the massive mound of corpses, I had to look away. My head was spinning. My stomach turned over. I ran. I was mortified by what I had just seen. 6:48 a.m. I got back to Dylan's apartment. I was still sweating and breathing heavily as I bought a plane ticket for the next flight home. I decided the best plan was to call the police when I'd landed. I just wanted to go home. My heart was pounding. 8:58 a.m. Red and blue lights flashed outside as a police car pulled up to Dylan's door. I tried to keep my cool. I spoke with the officer. I felt like I was going to vomit. As we were talking about Dylan's disappearance, the officer's radio receiver sounded. I listened in horror. Some campers discovered a scarecrow strung high in a tree with a noose around its neck. It campers claim there is a dark liquid seeping from its burlap skin and is wearing the park ranger's hat. My thoughts began to race. I've made a huge mistake. The ranger was just investigating a lead which led him to the cellar. He must have found Dylan's phone after I got the weird text. But how did he get a key to the cellar? I acted so quickly. I hit him with the bat and I ran. What have I done? I just left him there to die. And most importantly, the cellar. What was that? What was the cellar? My phone chimed. I had a text from an unknown number. 10:10 a.m. Why did you run? My head was spinning. My hands were shaking as I nearly dropped my phone as I handed it to the officer. He read my text. The officer was probably in his late 50s, tall, and was still strong for his age. His deep voice demanded respect. The officer excused himself and went to his unmarked car to make a call. I couldn't help but notice a limp as he walked. He looked nervous as a small crowd of tenants had gathered, drawn in by the red and blue lights. Dylan lived in an apartment complex inhabited mostly by college students and young professionals. They are townhome style, so each unit has 2 floors and a backyard. There were about 30 townhomes in total. Dylan's complex was at the end of the neighborhood, backing up to a large clearing in dense woods. Most of the tenants had already left for holiday travels. A short while later, the officer got out of his car and walked over to me. I was sitting on the curb when he spoke. I just spoke to the chief. We believe that you may be at risk. We do not want you to panic, but we need you to be safe. I'm going to hold on to your phone for now. Any texts you receive are considered part of this investigation. You're not from Colorado, are you? No, sir. I need you to get into the car with me. You're not under arrest, but we need to get some statements from you down at the station. My heart began to race as I replayed the memory of hitting the ranger. I need to tell you something. We'll have plenty of time for that. He opened the back door of his cruiser. As we started out of the drive, my anxiety grew. After about 20 minutes, I couldn't help but speak. I'm sorry, but last night I went to look for Dylan and he cut me off. Just stop talking. I was trying to keep this operation smooth. You just decided to go and mess it all up. I noticed we were driving further away from the city. Your friend told you too much. What? I told you to be quiet. But you were too curious. Decided to do some investigating of your own, didn't you? Jimmy the Ranger? He told me what he could before he died. I could barely make out what he was telling me. My stomach started to turn. I looked to the door handles, but I knew they wouldn't open. You must have got him good. Was only conscious for a few minutes. Good riddance, though. He was getting too soft. The rest of us were worried he might start talking. Said he didn't want to do this much longer. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dylan's gone, isn't he? You sent those texts, wrote those notes, set up the scarecrows? Well, I didn't kill your friend, if that's what you're asking. I just helped facilitate the deeds that must be done. We supply a food source to keep civilians safe. What are you talking about? Well, she has to eat something. You don't want her coming down from the mountain, do you? Can't get rid of her either. Sacrifices must be made to ensure the majority survive. You might call me a murderer, but I don't see it that way. I froze as he continued. She's been eating more than usual. That's why we have a nice pile of meat down in that cellar. Homeless people mostly, but I can't help it if she wants to pick off some lone campers. You're insane! What are you talking about? Who are you feeding people to? He laughed again. I can't have you running around telling the media. Could you imagine the chaos this would bring? All the victims' families wanting justice? Exposure, rock climbing accidents, those make much more sense. We'd been driving for a while. I could tell we were getting closer to the trail. A camper, walking his brown dog alongside the road, waved to us as we passed. I wish there was some way to tell him that I was in danger. We continued to drive in silence. I was trying to comprehend the situation. When we got to the trailhead, the officer parked his car, got out. He drew his pistol, opened my door, and motioned me to start walking. The walk was slow as he limped behind me. I'll tell you where to go. If you try anything, I'll put a bullet through your skull, throw you in that cellar with the others. It was a long and silent walk up the trail. The cold air stung my face as we trekked along. Even in my panic state, I knew we were in the same area as the cellar. What are you taking me to? Her. What's her? Not sure. If you're going to kill me, at least tell me what we're going to. I can't tell you, 'cause I don't know what she is. Crawled her way from hell, I guess. My heart was pounding and my legs grew weak. I didn't ask any more questions. The sun was starting to set. The only sounds were crunching of leaves and the snaps of twigs beneath our feet. We took countless turns and the trail had turned into dense woods and uneven ground. I was exhausted. Getting close. I'm glad I didn't have to drag your corpse all the way up here. I'd already lost track of time. What seemed like hours of hiking finally ended. We finally stopped. In front of me was a small pond, perfectly round. Something was wrong though. The water was black and a thick layer of fog clouded the surface. It should have been frozen in this cold. Peeking just above the haze, I could see the heads of hundreds of scarecrows lining the pond's perimeter. All were facing me, as though they had been waiting. The officer began to speak again as he started building a fire. The routine started to wear on us. It was always the same. Get the bodies, throw them in the cellar, write a bogus police report, contact the families. It got stale. She got tired of the easy meals. So we got a little more creative. Got the campers scared, get them moving in this direction. Let it hunt. It likes the trophies. He nonchalantly pointed to the scarecrows. When I saw your buddy's phone, I took it upon myself to get you down here. I thought it'd be more of a challenge, but you basically turned yourself in. I felt myself becoming more nauseous as I recalled the events that led me here. Night fell, and the black pond began to stir. Won't she kill you too? Like some one at a time, whatever she can get to first. I didn't want to know just how many cops and rangers were part of this. I considered making a break for it, but I knew I'd be gunned down. The officer kept his distance with his gun pointed at me. He motioned to me and moved closer to the pond as I hesitantly obeyed. Stand there. That's where I put her food. The water began to churn as it surfaced. Black ripples formed small waves that splashed against the pond's edge. Its dark matted hair was first featured to break the surface. I immediately smelled the damp, rotting flesh. I was frozen with fear as it moved in my direction and continued to descend from the pool. I cannot fully describe what I saw. The hellish figure had risen from the inky depths and moved closer. A tall, thin form with long hair descending from its head to the middle of its body. It kept this shape momentarily. Whatever it is, it does not belong on this earth. As the creature moved closer, it would rapidly lose its form in a flash of gray and black static, only to return to the previous shape. I was able to make out a skeletal frame in between the rapid flashes. It moved closer. I heard something behind me, the shuffling of leaves and a man's voice yelling in the distance. I turned around in a panic, only to see a large brown dog dragging a broken leash behind it. The canine walked cautiously as it eyed the officer and I with a curious skepticism. A beam of light flashed before us, and a man carrying the other end of the leash appeared. It's the same man from the road. Sorry guys, I've been chasing my dog forever. He broke off the leash and started following your scent. Is he, He saw it. What's that? I took advantage of the moment. My survival instincts kicked in. The officer was distracted only for a few seconds, and I started running as fast as I could, only to be outpaced by the frightened dog. I heard the first bullet fly by my ear. The second shot came soon after. I'll never forget the camper's scream as the bullet pierced his body. His agonizing voice echoed throughout the mountains. I never actually heard his screaming stop. It only ever grew quieter as I ran further from the pond. I ran for hours, fueled by adrenaline and survival. I knew the officer couldn't keep up with me, and he had to make sure his new witness could not escape. I'll not disclose the details of where I went, or where I currently reside. I'm not sure who is reading this. I am safe at the moment. I will attempt to work with the true authorities after I figure out how to tell them what I've seen. Right now, I'm trying to forget the sound of the man's screams and the snapping of his bones.